Hi all, welcome back to my show, Sunshine City Show. Max, your host. Remember to ring the bell and sub to me. Today I want to discuss Tom Hanks and Ghislaine Maxwell. As we know, with Maxwell linked to Epstein Island and was enemy number one, arrested, turned up for a court appearance and was on a big white screen and couldn't even get there. Now, the jail didn't bring her there, which is highly suspicious. She said 3 words. What really struck me strange is the reporters couldn't bring cameras or video cameras in, and so the only thing they had of her was a painting. And with video evidence and photographic evidence, you might be able to figure out if it was in real time or not that she was on the screen. Because right now we have a Tom Hanks interview that's very similar. With the Tom Hanks interview, the cue cards of Stephen Colbert at Late Night Host. They were at the start of the interview and at the end of the interview, but in the middle of the interview they were disappearing. They weren't there. And so it appears that there was 2 different... so Stephen Colbert had done the interview with the middle one, without the cue cards, and then they've added in the beginning and the end parts of the interview and added it in. And they were asking him questions that weren't in today's time. And they asked him where he was, and he said he pretty much sort of indicated he was in the America area. He said he's just out of this town somewhere, which was in America, and he's in Greece. So that didn't make sense. And then he arrived in Greece. Someone said it was on video camera. They'd seen it on the news. And I think someone is always putting me wrong on my YouTube channel. So I go and look it up on Google, and all I can find is a photograph. Someone else said on Maxwell that it was Epstein that introduced Ghislaine Maxwell to the spy agency. But if you watch Sean Atwood, it was actually Ghislaine Maxwell that was introducing Epstein, because the guy from Israeli military was there, and he said he backed up a lot of the information. He said, well, Ghislaine Maxwell, and she wasn't caught at the time, had introduced Epstein to the Israeli intelligence, because her father was in intelligence. So she was the one in intelligence. It wasn't Epstein. And they're saying that Epstein was in it from the beginning. So I'm thinking somebody's feeding me false information on YouTube, and I think it's the Mossad. And I'm very wary now. But I haven't fell for it yet, because I have other information, because I spend hours and hours and hours researching these things. And so Ghislaine Maxwell is a bad girl, and she's been doing these things and responsible. And the girls are saying, well, actually she was doing some of this stuff. She was involved, and she was getting girls, and she's delivering them there and taking them back, and she reckons that she's under pressure from Epstein. And definitely Epstein was into genealogy, and so was Bill Gates, and here they want to do vaccines with us, and they're fast tracking these vaccines is the other problem that's going on. So anyway, we'll get back to these 2. So we got the interview with Tom Hanks isn't making sense. So what can we make of this? All we can say is that they physically can't make it into real life, both of them. Now, there's 3 conclusions, I guess, they're missing as a possibility. My first solution was that they were underground and couldn't go above ground. Adrenodrome's another possibility. With adrenodrome, they can't COVID. If they catch the COVID, they'll die. It's a possibility, because it might be an act of God, because when the Chinese released this thing just beforehand, they made a human-animal hybrid. Now, with Dr. Fauci, his scientist, had said, when she was locked up for her information, had said that every time they tried to create animal-human hybrid, a disease would break out. So possibly it could have been an act of God attacking everybody who had taken adrenodrome and attacked them, possibly. And so the whole world has to be in a lockdown for them. I mean, that's a possibility. It is a possibility. And the other one is that maybe just the turmoil and the civil war and everything else is a reason for being underground. Right now you've got Trump having trouble with China. China have really ramped it up on Trump. They're buying properties crazy right now. And China, well, they're doing a lot of things. They've released that virus for starters. Well, we think they have, because I said, there was that act of God one. And so people with proof have been saying they have been with the Rockefeller PDF file, which also they're saying Tom Hanks could be a relative of the Rockefeller. So he could be a clear witness of starting this virus. So he may be under arrest for that, for being an elite and trying to create the new world order. So he could be in arrest for that. There's the Epstein thing where he had been on the plane. So there is that problem as well. He'd been on the Epstein plane and would have known about what was happening on the island. And because it was a honey trap, an Israeli honey trap, that's the connection with Ghislaine introducing Epstein. And according to the Mossad friends that I have, are saying it's the other way around, that the honey trap was to get underage kids to be sleeping with politicians and people in power, so that they could use them at a later date and get them to do things for them. And if they didn't comply, they could say, well, hey, we know where your kids are at 3 o'clock. Here's some photographs. And if you want your kids to be alive, you need to do this for us. Because once you've got onto that honey trap thing, once they've got you there, and we know full well with the Clintons and Bill, he loved going to the island. We know that everyone that tried to cross the path of the Clintons ended up dead. So there was definitely a protection ring going on, and definitely around Bill and Hillary, anyone that tried to take them to court. We have security, we have everything else. I'm sure you're aware of it. You just need to watch a Clinton documentary. They're coming out now with these documentaries, and even my parents knew years and years and years ago that they were dirty. I mean, Bill, they always say about Bill and his nose, he likes taking drugs. He likes his woman too. And, they had that child at one stage, Bill's child, and Alex Jones came and interviewed him. So, but they've paid off that kid, to keep quiet. And he's saying, well, you didn't look after me. And he was a black guy, because they're always saying we look after the blacks. And this kid wasn't looked after. It was their own kid. If you're not going to look after your own kid, how can you pretend that you care about blacks, and you don't care about this guy who's poor, poverty driven, and needs some help, needs a bit of a lift up, $5,000 here, Dad, some money, just something. So he was given some hush money. So you've got all that. So that's my opinion on Tom Hanks, is that possibly he is alive. There definitely seems to be two time frames of that interviewer. There's definitely deception going on, and there's deception going on with Ghislaine Maxwell. Why can't she appear? Why didn't we see her arrested? Why wasn't that on video? So there's a lot of questions about what's happening right now. Why are celebrities in ankle bracelets, Whoopi and Ellen? Why are they in ankle bracelets? I know that Whoopi had gone to the island, Epstein Island as well. She had lots of connections with people that she shouldn't have had connections with. Harvey Weinstein, that kind of thing. And the guy in Brazil who got her in a lot of trouble, that was her boyfriend over there. So she's been with some dark people. And there's a temple on the island, on Epstein Island. We haven't heard about that yet. We've heard about the pedophilia and children, but we haven't heard what happens on that temple yet. We haven't heard if there's layers underground. Heard there's a tunnel from the house to the temple, and we haven't heard who's in the temple. We haven't heard if that's where these things have been happening. Some of these things have been happening because there was Romanian girls there, and Prince Andrew had something to do with those Romanian girls. And then we have Prince Andrew, that really trying to pressure him to go and appear. And I don't know what he's going to do right now, because this is the number one thing happening in the world right now. So I don't think Prince Andrew can stop from his own protection, because why has the Queen removed his royal duties? She knows that he's guilty. So, and why did the Queen and Boris have this friendly sort of pally thing to get together and somehow gave Trump the Federal Reserve. So I think that they're going to help America, and then we've got Assange. And what's happening there, they're trying, apparently there's a dirty judge that won't let him go. They want to keep him there in London because they're scared of America, scared of the secrets coming towards Trump. And the problem too with Trump right now is he's released the vaccine. And, well, he said that we're going to move forward with this vaccine, and they've completed it. And they're talking about having to do tests every month on you, like guinea pigs. And I don't think anyone wants to go through that. Why doesn't Trump start with what he used to say? The hydro drug is a cure. Shanghai said that the vitamin C was a cure on drip. And then you had Italy saying, well, you can use salt and aspirins, and it will clear up, because it's a blood clot disease, so you need to clear up the blood clot. And it had nothing to do with respirators, and they said the respirators were actually making things worse. So you got all these things happening right now. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for being subbing to me. Thank you all.